Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlies, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are indeed lucky enough to be doing it too. It's Bushka Blitz here, and it's a Monday, and it's been a wonderful weekend, but I just love getting back to work and doing videos for you humans on a Monday morning. Today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different tanks, and I'm going to be talking about them not so much as a review. I'm going to be talking about them in relation to the game itself and the way the game's played. And that sounds pretty generic, and it kind of is, but that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the broad strokes parts of Blitz, and at times zoom in and talk about some of the more important bits. And the important bits I'm talking about today is the nuance of the game. I've done a lot of videos lately about dealing with how to get to 60% win rate and all those kind of things, and that's all well and good. Getting the 60% win rate is all well and good. Now, tank choice is a huge part of it. It's a lot easier to get to 60% win rate driving a T54 Mod 1 than it is to get there driving a T57 Heavy. Because the T57 Heavy is harder to drive. Now, people will disagree with me on some of the tanks that I'm going to put up here, as in their difficulty levels and all that kind of thing. But this isn't every tank in the game. I'm only going to talk about 2 or 3 tanks. What I'm really talking about, though, is the ceiling on some of these tanks. Tanks like the T57 Heavy have actually got quite tremendous ceilings. That means you can do great things in these tanks, but the amount of skill required and the amount of things you have to get right to do that are generally quite extensive. And we're going to have a look at the T57 Heavy this game, and we're going to have a look at the Leopard 1, we're going to have a look at the 54 Mod 1, and we're going to look at the Panther 2. Now you can see the 57 Heavy, I'm constantly moving back here. I don't have much of an armor profile. It's pretty crap, in fact. And I'm going to side scrape to that rock, and I'm going to use him behind me, and I'm watching that grill 15 over there. And I've looked at that object 140, he's moved forward, and I'm constantly moving so that they don't have any opportunity to get easy, soft shots on my turret. And then I'm going to push up. I'd like to get the 48 pattern because he's a big target, but I will take the 54 Heavy in an instant. The 54 Heavy, Freudian slip. The 54 medium in an instant. I'm going to finish him off. And I've not really given them much chance, but I haven't stopped firing, and I've been working on my reload. And it's been a really solid game, and I've enjoyed it. But there were a lot of shots there where I was bouncing, or I was angling, or I was resetting camo, and I was using the brush in front of me, and I was doing all those things, where if I had been in, say, an IS-7 or an IS-4 or a T62A or a tank with a really strong overpowered armor profile, I wouldn't have had to worry about that. I would have been able to just push. And those tanks don't generally pay for their sins with their bad armor profile with anything else specifically. I mean, the IS-7 is super quick, it's got fantastic armor, it's got APCR as premium ammunition, so you don't have to worry about penning people with heat through spaced armor or tracks. It's got really, really massive amounts of positive things going for it, and it doesn't have a lot that's negative. Spaced armor on its sides, low profile, all these kind of things. So you'd think you'd just drive that all the time, and you get better win rates and all that kind of thing, and that's true. But what's important to you when you play the game? Well, for me, it's the joy and the challenge. And this kind of a tank, the Leopard 1, is a hell of a lot more challenging than playing an IS-7 or a T54 Mod 1 or an IS-3 Defender or an IS-6 or any of those tanks. And you have to make a decision about the way you play the game and what's going to be important about it. And I want you to watch this game here. Now, that's not actually an accident, that bounce. If you back up far enough in a Leo and they're below you, you can get some very, very trollish bounces off the top of the turret. I'm resetting the camo there. I'm waiting till he's disappeared from camouflage so that he doesn't know where I'm going next. And remember I was talking about my ISP trying to work on commission with the red team? You'll see here what I'm talking about. You've got to think about the way you want to play the game and why you play the game. If you're playing the game for win rate, that's great. Well, drive an IS-6, get enough free XP, pay for a T54 or Mod 1 or something, and then just whatever, you know, like T54, whatever you want to drive. I mean, look at my ping there. You saw it going out to 9,970 or whatever. I'm trying to get up the top there, so I back it up and just go up here and actually have a look for the Leo 1. But if you want to challenge, you're going to have to expand your play style. You're going to have to learn that you cannot just roll forward in all the tanks out there. You have to be aware at all times, and you have to track multiple targets, and you have to learn your way, and this is really important, around the maps. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be skillful and drive a strong tank. You obviously can. But if you're driving a tank that isn't as strong, you have to utilize different aspects of it. And you have to be a little bit thick-skinned, if you excuse the pun, because your armor isn't thick-skinned. And you have to be able to take the hits when people carry on like pork chops about where you're situated or how you didn't charge and YOLO and die with them. Now, this game in the Leopard 1 is interesting, I find, because I've not really made a lot of mistakes yet. I've taken nearly all that Leo's hit points, and I've taken one hit back. So I'm pretty happy with the trade-off thus far. I was aggressive. I could have maybe just put one shot in and not taken any, but you can see here, I'm looking for easy shots. And I'm also making sure that their TDs, there's a 183 that I don't know where the hell he is, that their TDs don't get easy shots on me. And there's that Leo. He's hanging around there again. I'm angling now to make sure that I have hard cover between both the 57 and the Leo. I'm hoping the hard cover works because I really want to get over there. I know where the 57 is. I'm watching for him. I'm going to push up here and set up a shot on the Leo, who I believe is coming around to hit me and hasn't spotted me yet. Bang. We grab him. And that's just lovely. We're now moving up here. Now, I've made a mistake. I've taken all the Leo's hit points for one shot and put one into the 57 Heavy, but I didn't reset my camo. And it cost me 1,020 hit points. And that is why I love driving tanks like this. You just simply cannot switch off for one moment. And it's also why when I'm actually trying to get decent footage, I won't drive longer than a couple of hours, because it just gets, you start missing things and you start losing track, and you stop paying attention correctly. And even when you're really focusing on things like that, you can miss. And I've driven all over the top of this hill. I've reset camo. I've changed my position. I'm now waiting for this mouse to pop out. And you're going to see when he pops out, I'll get stuck into the 57. There you go. He's taken a hit. He's got to be looking the other way. We'll just drive down there, get the kill. And he was looking for me, Jerry's Black Rose. Good on him. He knew where I was. But the mouse did the right thing and pushed up. Now, there's still two tanks left, and we're down to a 2-on-3. The mouse is going to push up along the right-hand flank, and I'm going to go all the way around to the left. The M103 is going to get wrecked. He shouldn't be giving these guys any kind of shot, but he is. He is, and I mean, he's in a bit of a rock and a hard place. They're pushing on him. They want to get the shot in. He's asking for help, and we're going to go up and give it, but he drives forward here. I don't know why. It was always going to get smacked. We finish off the Object 263, the YOLO wagon. We come out here, and then we're going to track this tank. Now, you should be getting used to doing those kind of things all the time. But you can see, I'm going to drive the 54 Mod 1 after this, and then I'm going to give I'm not after any kind of bar with this. I want the mouse to push. He's got full hit points. I'm going to try and track him again just so the mouse can get past. I missed the shot completely. The mouse is a good player. He tracks him anyway. And now I'm just going to put a shot into him because that's good. Tracked him, but didn't do any damage. Wrong angle for it, really. Bit apathetic, but we got there. And now I'm going to show you the T54 Mod 1. I made one mistake in that game, and it cost me 1,000 hit points. We still did 3k damage. We led that Leo 1 a merry chase. We kept the T57 moving and guessing the whole time. We came down and worked very well with the mouse at the end. They're all really good skills. They're all really good things that I'm proud of doing, and I think the gameplay was pretty solid. Here's a 54 Mod 1. And this is what I'm talking about. This is just being a bully. This is a heavy tank. When you're in a tier 8 game, your armor profile is pretty much as good as any other tank in the game. If you know how to angle and you know how to move, you're going to be apples in this. And you can be a complete and utter bully. And you can see there, just walk forward, smack the Dracula, back it up. There's an IS-6 over there. And I am going to work the angles here. The Drac comes up, misses a shot, looking for the shot on the T44. I'll set my angles up again. There he is. Pull back. reset. The RU251, that's a lovely easy bounce there, no problems whatsoever. You've got a little bit of spaced armor around the gun mantlet as well, so you don't have to worry too much about heat if people fire heat at you. Don't want to give the IS-6 side shots. The RU's in the wrong place. Now, soft tanks like the RU, the Leopard 1, the Panther 2, the Leopard PTA, the SP1C, they're not corner fighters. The Drac, you're just giving people an even break. You should be buggering off and relocating and moving to the flank. This is one of the reasons I get really annoyed at people that go, oh, the SP1C sucks now, you can't drive it. Or the RU251 sucks now, you can't drive it. If you are not using... A good soft skin tank like that has one thing going for it. It's camo. And, I mean, two, obviously, because the speed is ridiculous. And there we go, another bounce on the tier 8 medium. If you're not using that speed, like that Dracula's on a corner, fighting on a corner here, versus tanks with really big armor profiles. And I'm just trying to work this IS-6. I'm getting shots on him, and I'm taking the corner. I've got no problems taking the corner off that RU251 because he's wasting everyone's time if he's there. And you can see he's at the back, and he's got no shots, and he knows he's in a tough spot because he doesn't have the armor to actually deal with this. But at the same time, he's not moving far enough. He could have been all the way around the back on the other side. He could have been spotting. He could have just been playing a general support role, and he would have been doing a lot better here. And I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying there is different ways to play different tanks. And strong tanks, or as I call them, competitive tanks, are a lot easier to play. And if you want to enjoy the game, you learn to play the hard tanks as well as the easy tanks, because the hard tanks will make you a better player. And then you take those thought processes and those skills and you put them into a tank that's really strong, and you become a much more efficient killing machine. Like the 54 Mod 1, I'm angling to everything as I get there. I am going to COD this T32. I'm going to think about putting a HE shell into him. I'm going to check my penetration numbers, not good enough. I'm now going to go side by side with him, and I've got just as good an armor profile nearly as this tank that I'm driving next to, but I'm a medium tank. There's a Borsig over there. I'm going to angle to that E25. I'm going to push on the Borsig, change to HE, just smack him, run into him, get really close. I'll take one from the Mod 1, not Mod 1, the Cockroach, pull back. I mean, these are all the kind of skills you have to learn to use on a Leopard 1 to stay alive, but on a 54 Mod 1, it's a joke because the tank is so freaking strong. And your armor profile is so strong, and everything about it is so strong that you just take that extra step and you think, wow, the game is a lot easier. But is it as much fun? For me, it's not. For me, I get more joy out of taking tanks that you have to be a little bit cerebral with, because if you just play that one style of Russian meds, you're going to get bored as hell. I mean, you can whack 3,000 games into it, but it really is just about the win rate. I mean, it's fun, and if you're playing with mates, don't get me wrong, you still have fun, and I've played heaps of games in 54s and Mod 1s and T44s and Type 59s, and I've done that. But you need to play across a large variety of vehicles, because if you're not playing across a large variety of vehicles, you're missing out. And you're missing out on tanks that are pretty special, tanks that have very, very high ceilings when used correctly, but which are not very easy to get there. And you've got to be so patient with them. You can see I'm looking around all over the place here, looking at the mini-map, wondering where the people are on the left, waiting to see if Ouija pushes up there and gets any resistance. No, he doesn't. So I can move over here and I can start putting shots in. Now I'm using a Panther 2. This is a tank that cops a big flogging. A lot of people don't like this tank at all. I adore it. It's a hard tank to get the most out of because it is a very, very soft tank, but one-to-one matchmaking has really improved the viability of tanks like this, tanks that rely on guns. The thing you can't do with a tank like the Panther 2 is not have shots on target. If you don't have shots on targets, then you have to think about moving, and that's exactly what I'm thinking about doing here. I'm looking back, not seeing anything. If I can't get some shots over here, I'm going to roll out. But there you go. They've just started pushing up, so I'm able to actually get some more people to shoot at. We're looking now for the Tiger 2, and we're still wondering where that glacial is. And I can see he's been spotted on the right over here. I'm going to start paying attention in a second, just as soon as I get the kill on this stubborn Emil. All right, there we go. Now time for the glacial. Glacial's a really strong tank. Panther 2 has one thing that the glacial doesn't like, though. It's got excellent penetration values and an excellent gun. And if you're at range on the glacial and it's got its turret turned to the side, or it's got the rest of it turned to the side, you can really make a killing. Look how strong that upper plate on the glacial is. It's one of the reasons why I really like the tank. But he's reversed and he's flattened out that upper plate, which means I've got a big weak spot to hit. Now, he's a very important tank to get rid of, and prioritizing targets when you're in a sniper tank is really important. Like, if I was sitting here sniping at a tank like that IS over the Glacial 2, it'd be a joke. And I'm going to try and sneak one in here on the IS and then bugger off, and I cop one from a Truggles, which is well-deserved. Didn't really drive that very well. Get one into him and then leave him alone. Now, I'm not going to have a chance to reset camo. I'm still going to be seen, but Ouija's getting really pushed on here. They're ahead on cap points. I've had to rely on the rest of the team to do the capping. I'm going to cop a flogging. This IS knows what he's doing. He's going to be looking at me as I come across. That's all there is to it. I'm going to have to take the hit. But if I don't get down here and help, then we're going to lose the game. And the SP1C takes out the 152, all well and good. You can see there's so much more thought to this. You can't be that aggressive bully. You can use your hit points and hit point trade if you've saved them, but you just can't walk straight forward and bounce shots. You've got to use the gun. You've got to put it in positions to let it sing, and you've got to know what you're doing. So explore the different tech trees, explore the different lines, learn to play tougher tanks. And then when you get along in the big dogs, the really nasty things, the stuff that absolutely makes a killing, you'll have a more expansive skill pool to pull from, and you'll be able to be more durable, and it'll just improve your gameplay out of sight. I'm Bushka on Blitz. As always, look after your families, sponsor the channel if you would, and stay safe on the battlefield.